Buckingham Palace has finally been forced to say the quiet part out loud, and it changes everything about how Prince Harry's security fight has been framed for years. A royal aide has now confirmed that the palace has no power to overturn or influence Prince Harry's security review. None. Zero. And that single admission completely dismantles one of the most persistent narratives used to undermine Harry's case. For years, we have been told, either directly or through implication, that Harry's loss of security was some neutral administrative decision, or worse, that it was somehow justified. At the same time, other briefings suggested that if the decision went against him, it would prove palace intervention behind the scenes. Now the palace itself is hitting back and saying that suggestion is unjust and inaccurate. That alone tells you how toxic and misleading the conversation around Harry's safety has become. The review is being conducted by Ravec, the Executive Committee for the Protection of Royalty and Public Figures, and the outcome is expected later this month. According to the aide, the palace does not have the authority to dictate outcomes within Ravec. While palace representatives sit on the committee, they are not there to advise on threat analysis or security mitigations. That responsibility lies with intelligence and security experts. In other words, professionals who understand real-world risks, not courtiers obsessed with optics. This matters because one of the most damaging claims thrown at Harry has been the idea that he is trying to manipulate the system or lean on his father to get protection. This statement directly contradicts that. The palace is effectively saying we cannot interfere even if we wanted to. And that raises an uncomfortable question. If the palace cannot intervene, then why has Harry been portrayed for so long as if he is demanding special treatment from the institution he stepped away from? Prince Harry is said to be confident of a positive outcome, and frankly, that confidence makes sense. His risk profile did not disappear when he moved to California. He did not stop being the son of the king. He did not stop being brother to the heir. He did not stop being one of the most recognizable public figures on the planet. Those facts alone fundamentally separate his situation from that of private citizens. A source familiar with the proceedings has been very clear that no decision has been nailed on. The Risk Management Board is still undertaking its review, and nobody yet knows what recommendation will be made to Ravec. That source went further, saying claims that the outcome is already decided look like an attempt to manipulate the media into manifesting a particular result. That is an extraordinary statement because it flips the usual accusation on its head. For years, Harry has been accused of manipulating the media. Now insiders are openly saying that others are trying to do exactly that by leaking premature claims to shape public perception before the process is complete. Whoever is behind those claims either does not understand or does not care how transparent and counterproductive that behaviour is. Let's be honest here. The idea that Harry does not need security has always been absurd. He has faced credible threats, including from extremist groups. He has been chased by paparazzi. He has spoken openly about the trauma of losing his mother in a media-driven tragedy. And yet he has been told that protecting his wife and children in the UK is somehow an unreasonable request. A friend of the prince summed it up perfectly by saying, "Common sense should prevail." Whether you like Harry or not, he is the son of the king brother to the heir and one day brother to the king. Those are realities he cannot change. The risk does not just stop because he no longer lives full-time in Britain. Titles aside, his identity alone carries threat. This is not about privilege. It is about proportionality and responsibility. Governments routinely protect former leaders, diplomats, and high-risk individuals because the threat does not magically vanish. Harry's case should never have been controversial. It only became so because certain voices were determined to punish him for leaving and for speaking the truth. The outcome of this assessment will play a major role in whether Meghan Markle, Prince Archie, and Princess Lilibet can return to the UK. Harry has said repeatedly that it would be impossible to bring his family back without proper security. That is not stubbornness. That is basic parental responsibility. A source close to Meghan has been equally clear, saying security will always be a deciding factor. Meghan has already experienced the consequences of inadequate protection, including racist abuse, stalking, and relentless harassment. Expecting her to place her children in a situation where their safety is not guaranteed is not reasonable, and it never was. And this is where the hypocrisy really shows. The same commentators who claim Harry is paranoid are often the first to amplify threats against him and his family. They cannot have it both ways. You cannot profit from stoking hatred and then dismiss the need for security when that hatred becomes dangerous. Harry is set to return to the UK in the coming weeks as he prepares for his High Court case against Associated Newspapers Limited, the owner of the Daily Mail. This lawsuit is part of a broader effort by Harry to hold the media accountable for years of alleged privacy violations, unlawful practices, and inaccurate reporting. This is not a vendetta. It is a reckoning. The case, initiated in 2022, is one of several legal actions Harry has brought since 2019. And notice the pattern. These cases only exist because regulators and institutions failed to act for years. Harry stepped into a vacuum of accountability and decided to do what others would not. Associated Newspapers Limited denies all wrongdoing as expected. But denial is not exoneration. Courts exist to examine evidence, not headlines. And the fact that Harry keeps winning or forcing settlements in these cases tells you that his claims are not frivolous. It is also impossible to ignore the timing. Harry is coming back to Britain while his security review is still ongoing. That alone highlights the stakes. This is not theoretical. This is about his physical safety in real time while attending court hearings linked directly to the same media organisations that have fuelled threats against him. The Palace statement distancing itself from Ravec decisions may be an attempt to protect institutional neutrality. But it also exposes how unfair it has been to suggest that Harry is using royal influence. If anything, he has been navigating a system that stripped him of protection first and asked questions later. Meghan's position throughout this has been consistent and grounded. She supports her husband's fight for safety, not because of status, but because of reality. She has watched him relive trauma. She has watched their children become public targets simply because of who their father is. Any parent would draw the same line. What happens next will be telling. If Ravec delivers a decision rooted in evidence and expertise, then it will restore some faith in the process. If it does not, questions will rightly be asked about how such an outcome could be justified given Harry's unchanged risk profile. But one thing is now undeniable. The Palace cannot hide behind claims of intervention or denial. They have admitted they do not control this process, which means responsibility lies squarely with the state and its duty of care. Harry has never asked for special treatment. He has asked for fairness, he has asked for safety, and he has asked for accountability. Those are not radical demands. They are the bare minimum any government should provide to someone in his position. As always, Harry and Meghan continue to push forward with clarity and purpose. They are not distracted by palace games or media tantrums. They are focused on protecting their family, serving their causes, and telling the truth, even when it makes powerful people uncomfortable. The coming weeks will be critical, not just for Harry's security, but for what this decision says about values, responsibility, and whether common sense can finally prevail.